The man bought a first-class plane ticket every day, without fail, but he had never actually boarded a plane. Instead, he anxiously sat in the airport lounge watching TV, until one day, the TV host suddenly fell asleep, and the players in the on-screen match collapsed on the field. The man immediately realized it was time to board the plane, but he suddenly noticed that all the airport security personnel were armed. Seeing that time was running out, the man abruptly snatched a security guard's rifle and sprinted madly toward the tarmac. The commotion quickly alerted a flight attendant, who rushed to close the cabin door. But just then, the barrel of the man's rifle jammed the door. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't stop the man from forcing his way inside. The passengers panicked at the sight, and chaos erupted throughout the cabin. The man stormed into the cockpit, demanding the captain take off immediately. Faced with the man's sincere yet threatening expression, the captain had no choice but to comply. He started the engines and swiftly ascended into the sky. But just then, a passenger suddenly seized the man's weapon, and the flight attendant quickly locked him in the restroom. Before anyone could breathe a sigh of relief, the captain noticed through the cockpit window that the ground control station was engulfed in flames. Countless people were frantically rushing toward the tarmac. The horrifying sight finally made everyone believe the man's warning. The captain released the man from the restroom, yet despite the look of terror on everyone's faces, the man seemed calm. He demanded that the captain return his weapon, or they could all wait for death together. Seeing no other choice, the captain agreed. With his weapon back in hand, the man revealed the shocking truth. It turned out that a sudden mutation had occurred in the sun a few days earlier. Anyone exposed to sunlight would instantly die. If they wanted to survive, they had to keep racing westward, continuously fleeing from the sun. But at that moment, Lisa warned that with the current fuel supply, they wouldn't be able to reach the westernmost airport. They would have to land halfway to refuel and gather supplies. Faced with this grim reality, everyone reluctantly accepted their fate. The captain and Lisa returned to the cockpit, and although the passengers had calmed down, panic still spread among the crowd. Soon, the plane reached the nearest airport. However, due to the earlier chaos, many of the plane's electronic systems were damaged. The captain had to rely on instinct for an emergency landing. The massive inertia made stopping the plane nearly impossible, but in the final moments, the captain's experience allowed him to bring the plane to a steady halt. Everyone quickly slid down the evacuation slides. At last, cell phone signals returned. People frantically contacted their families and friends, but before they could recover from their fear, a military truck suddenly drove up. 3 soldiers stepped out, and from their conversation, the man's doomsday warning was confirmed to be true.